So there is an OBGYN, a pro-life OBGYN named Dr. Donna Harrison, who studies ectopic pregnancies. And she says this is a quote from her, in 93% of ectopic pregnancies, there is either no fetus at all or a fetus who has already died. So most ectopic pregnancies are discovered between 7 and 8 weeks of pregnancy. And by the time it's discovered, whether it's pain, whether it's bleeding, those are kind of the classic symptoms of an ectopic pregnancy in early pregnancy. 93% of the time, by the time those symptoms are manifesting, the baby has already died. The left doesn't tell you this. The left doesn't tell you that before the treatment of an ectopic pregnancy happens, the vast, vast, vast majority of the time, more than 9 out of 10 times, 93% of times, the baby has already died. This number, this 93% is corroborated by a doctor at the University of Edinburgh, Dr. W. Colin Duncan. He says that the number is probably higher than 93% of the time. The left doesn't tell us about this. So oftentimes what causes the rupture in the fallopian tube is not the baby growing. It's not a living baby that's growing in there. It's actually the other tissue that supports a pregnancy that continues to grow that causes the rupture. And this happens, an ectopic pregnancy happens maybe between 1 and 2% of abortions. Or pregnancies, I should say, between 1 and 2% of pregnancies. So it's very rare that an ectopic pregnancy happens, and then the vast majority of ectopic pregnancies, the baby's already dead before you even realize that it is an ectopic pregnancy. Again, if you don't treat it, it can lead to life-threatening bleeding, which can lead to death. But what is the treatment? So there are 3 different ways you can treat an ectopic pregnancy. You can treat it with medication, you can treat it laparoscopically, or you can treat it with surgery. And the allegation from the left is that when you treat it with medication, that's an abortion. That's the same as a chemical abortion, they say. This is not true. So when you have an ectopic pregnancy, if you treat it with medication, then you would treat it with methotrexate is what the drug is called. Now, methotrexate is an injection that causes these cells, this tissue that would support the pregnancy that's inside the tube, implanted improperly, to dissolve. And this is maybe the easiest way to treat it. If it's not an advanced ectopic pregnancy, it dissolves the cells, clears out the tube, and that's that. And the left says, oh, well, that's the abortion pill. That's not true. Is this the abortion pill? It's very, very uncommon that methotrexate is used in a chemical abortion. Sometimes it might be, but it's very uncommon. More commonly, the abortion pills are the combination of mifepristone, and perhaps I'm butchering the names of the abortion drugs, and I don't care. And mifepristone is very, very uncommonly used to treat an ectopic pregnancy. Now, in a chemical abortion, you actually take 2 drugs. You take the first one, mifepristone, and then you take misoprostol, and you never use that for an ectopic pregnancy. So what the left is doing is they're trying to confuse us. They're trying to strike fear in our hearts, and they miss the larger picture here. So not only is 93% of the time this baby that implanted improperly in the tube already dead. This baby was never viable. This baby could never have properly grown and developed, which is tragic. It's very sad. I mean, I've had friends go through this, and it's heartbreaking. You've lost your baby, but it's improper to compare a treatment for a life-threatening illness that sometimes, in a very small fraction of cases, causes secondarily, as an indirect result, causes the death of a baby, to an abortion, which is a deliberate act to end the baby's life intentionally.